will this really work? Is the objection that we're addressing today. And whether this is your own objection during transitioning or whether it's your client's objection as you are providing your services, this will be a very relevant topic to think about to resolve it so that you no longer keep facing the same problem over and over again. So let's start from the perspective of you having this objection as you transition or as you go and seek support, as you go and network, whatever the situation you are in, this objection may come up a lot of the time. And you will obviously not be the first person who's dealing with this, but also that's a good news because then you will know how to deal with it and what to do about it. So, will this really work for me or will this really work is your brain's objection that really is saying that this will not work. So that's really what oftentimes is happening is that your brain, the safety triggering part of your brain is saying this will not work. So why should I spend all of my time and effort, maybe resources, to make it work? Right? So that's what's happening. Now, it might be important at this point in time to really get honest with yourself as to why do you need convincing, meaning if you're really truly honestly saying that this will not work and I won't go for it anyway, then why not honor that decision or why not honor that conclusion? But if you're not honoring that conclusion or if you're not honoring that decision, there must be some part of you that wants this outcome to work out, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't be staying in this in between place of will this work or will this not work? So if you are staying in this indecision place of I would like this to work, but I'm scared that it will not work, it's a very normal thing to be in, but also knowing that you are the only one who can decide whether something will work or not. So then the next question is, okay, if you would like this outcome to work, whatever this outcome is, right? Whether it's the outcome in the promotion, whether it's the outcome of living in a particular place with your family, whether this outcome is you starting your own business, whatever that outcome that you would like it to work, then the next question you can ask yourself is, how will you make sure that this works out? And of course, you may have a lot of fear about, oh my God, this is all the responsibility on me, and I cannot take that pressure. I cannot take that responsibility. What if I will fail? And what if this will also happen? That's all normal, meaning that your brain will be saying that. That's very okay to have that conversation with yourself. But then the question is, no matter how much we shift the responsibility or abdicate the responsibility to someone else, they may not be able to get to the outcome with the resources that you have. You are the one who has that, right? You are the one who has the wisdom, you are the one who has the experience, you are the one who has everything. You know yourself better than anyone. So obviously the only person who can make this work the best is you. So then the question is, if you're really wanting that outcome to work out, then what is it that you are willing to do to make it work out? Because if we stay in the indecision of whether this will work out or not, we'll just keep spending a lot of time thinking about it. And obviously, that's not going to get us any data to support whether this will work or not. So if we're searching for a data to show that whether in our situation this will work or not, we may not find it. Or depending on what our belief system is, we may find the data that says, yes, it will work. And if we really don't believe in the outcome, we may also go for finding data that says it is not going to work, right? So depending on how our lenses, if our lenses know it's likely not going to work, then we will be prone to searching for things to prove ourselves how we're right. So the the ultimate question is, what are you advocating yourself for? Meaning, are you trying to convince yourself that this will not work and therefore you keep being right about how you are not the type of person who has this type of outcome, or you cannot get this outcome because of the system and keep blaming the system, or you keep blaming maybe other people in your surroundings and say, oh, they're the reason why I couldn't get this thing I would have otherwise. Do you really want to stay in that space? Or you say, this is the outcome that I would like, this is the vision I would like to live in, and let me work through whatever it is that's stopping me from going for that outcome. No matter how scary it is, no matter how hard it may feel at the time, but let me go and do that. And that is your purview, right? That's what you have the power to do. So if you're not doing that, if you're not really using that power that you have to say, I am the one who's going to make this work, whichever the way, going through whatever the difficulties and challenges that I will have within myself. Or you can also decide, no, this is something that won't work, or I'm not willing to put the effort to make it work and I'm okay with it. Then I will be honestly owning up my decision and go and pursue something else. That's another way to go. But if the message, I think, that really you need to have it in your own awareness is, if you keep staying in this, will this work, will this not work, will this really work for me or not, or I'm the special case, if you keep staying in that place, you're probably really lying to yourself. And it's, again, as I said, our survival brain makes us do that most of the time. Our survival brain says, if we keep staying in this, will this work or will this not work? Get me someone to convince me that this will not work, or get me someone to convince me that this will work, and then keep staying in this indecision. Our brain feels that's safer than actually deciding to, no, I'm going to make it work, or I will try my best to see how it works. Then you are in the decision, right? You are making the decision. Then your inner system feels very insecure and uncertain, and then is like, oh no, now we really need to make it work, and how? And then gets into the whole other realm of uncertainties. And that's, again, normal. It's just you need to be aware of how you are staying in the indecision, and you are also the person who can get yourself out of that indecision if you really want to, right? So next time when you go and seek support from someone, or when you are asking mentors to help you, whatever the situation you might be in, instead of, will this work for me, or will this really work, you could ask the more powerful question of, here are my fears as to how this may not work, and I would like your support to help me figure out what to do about them, right? So if I were going to a coach, and I would say, okay, instead of saying, will this really work? What I might say is, here are my concerns as to, this is the reason, this is the reason, this is the reason why it may not work out. But I would really like that outcome anyway. So I would like your support to figure out how to make that work, if it is possible. And if so, I would like to then see What are the things that I'm willing to do and what are the things I'm not willing to do? And I would like to sit with it. So that's how I would phrase it. If you're doing this on your own, you could also do this exercise and say, okay, I'm telling myself this, I'm asking myself, will this really work? What I really mean is probably I'm believing it won't work. And if I'm believing it won't work, then let me get clear as to what is it that it won't work and why. And why am I not taking the responsibility in how to make this work in the process? And if the outcome is very important to me, then wouldn't I want to make it work? And if so, how? How will I make it work? Right? So that's the conversation you can have with yourself and then see what are the answers that come out. Now, if you are someone who is offering services, you are an entrepreneur, humanitarians who turned entrepreneur, and you are having clients or potential clients who are saying this, right? Who are saying, will this really work? Or maybe they might be expressing in different ways, but the gist of it is the same. Will this work, right? So you could definitely, as you hear this, you could create this safe space of, I hear you. I have been in that place many times. That could be one way, right? To create safe space to say, this is a very normal question. Nothing has gone wrong here. In fact, probably everyone is asking this question, only they're not expressing even. So if you're expressing it, I'm grateful that you're doing it. Now, let us figure out what this really means when you're saying, will this work for me? And then you get their buy-in to, are you in to figure out what is it behind this, will this really work statement? And then they may say yes. And then you say, okay, tell me more about what you mean by it. And then they may say things like, I'm afraid that this will not work out. I have done this before, or I don't think this is the right time to be doing this now in this crisis moment. Whatever the things that they may start talking about underneath the disguise of, or underneath this argument, objection of, will this really work? Right? And then you could, one of the easiest way could be, okay, would you like to do something with those, right? With those other objections? Would you like me support you to resolve these objections, whether you decide to work with me in the end or not? But at least I would like for you to see that the outcome that you're searching for is on the other side of you solving those objections with yourself, right? Another way to say is, would you like to work on these objections and solve them so that you keep pursuing what you want anyway? Or another way to say it, okay, let's see if you stay in the same realm now, if you stay in the same situation now, let's assume that you decided that this will not work for you and you keep continuing the way you are currently. How do you feel about it? Versus if you decide to solve these, whatever it is happening in between, to get to the outcome, and how would you feel about that? And then get them really looking at both scenarios. Because when I have done this with my clients, the scenario of them staying where they are currently, most people feel, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to stay in the same place anymore. I don't want to be doing the same thing over and over again. I don't want to be like stuck in this place further, right? That's what they usually tell me. And then I say, okay, if you did go to the outcome, how would you feel? And then they say all the things about how finally they feel liberated, free. Okay, in order to get your freedom, whatever the freedom we're searching for, what are the objections we need to be solving? Let's get into it. Because the freedom probably is something that you are really valuing, but in order to stand by that freedom, you need to be willing to solve whatever it is in the way of you feeling that freedom. And again, if you're not willing to solve those to feel that freedom, why not? And usually people believe that they just can't do that because they're not the type of person who can solve this type of problems, right? We don't really see ourselves oftentimes as someone who can solve this type of problem. Like even addressing our own objections feels like, oh my God, can I even do that? Is it even possible, right? Versus, okay, let me help you do that. That could be one way, right? And another way is, even if you do it on your own, you could do that. And there are tools that you could learn either from me or from whatever source you have. That could be another way. But the point being is that whatever the outcome that you would like, you can go and experience those outcomes. And the reason why I'm saying you can is because I've seen other people do that. Right? I have seen my clients do that. I have seen other people who are not even my clients do that. So it is possible. So if it is possible and other people are doing it, then what is it that you don't have that other people have? Right? And people usually are like, oh my God, I'm not that smart. I'm not that XYZ, right? And then I challenge them to say, but what if they're not either? But they still decided that's what they rather want to experience in their lives than being in the situation of stuck that they don't want to be in anymore. Right? In the other question I always ask people, and I think this is one of the most powerful ways to look at both sides, is it's probably very challenging to be staying where you are. Right, as you described, like a lot of my clients describe that it's so hard, it's so exhausting, I don't want to be here. I feel like I'm here against my own will. I feel like it's prison and I don't want prison anymore. I want freedom, all of this, right? So this is very challenging to keep staying in this place and keep telling yourself how this will not work. Or it is also challenging in the beginning to really look at those objections of yours and feel or get to the honest truth of what is it that you're wanting. And for many people who haven't done that, it might feel very uncomfortable in the beginning, and that's as well challenging. Facing uncertainty will feel very challenging, but also facing certainty of toxic environment or stuck feeling is also very challenging, right? So then if we know that these are both sides that feel very challenging, then the question is which one or which side are we willing to make it work? And when you then start feeling like, oh my God, but this is a lot of pressure, I don't know how I can handle it. It feels like too much responsibility, and all of this comes up. That's a good thing because then you are really going to the other side of feeling like, oh, how could I then do this and make this work without putting so much pressure on myself? What if you can take responsibility without having all this pressure? Because the pressure only comes from now I have to make it work, right? And the more I have to make it work sentence, the more we get into the pressure and the stress. And then at some point, we just give up. That's our brain's way of sabotaging us. Instead, we say, okay, how could I do this without constantly thinking about I have to make it work? Because in the end, we trust and know that you will make it work. Only how will you do that is really the question mark. And you can decide to do it in a way that feels good to you, or you can decide to do it in a way that makes you give up in the halfway because you are stressing yourself the whole time. So to sum up, I would really love for everyone who is struggling with this question of will this work? Will this really work? understand what's behind it, meaning understanding what you mean by it. And then the next thing is understanding what you want to do with it. Do you want to just stay in the, excuse me, I can't convince myself and others can't convince myself. I'll just keep telling myself and everyone how this won't work. So I don't need to face the fear of uncertainty. I don't need to face the fear of failure, and I just keep staying in the stuck place. Then you're really looking at, okay, this is how I'm owning it, right? So that would be one way. Or another way to say, okay, I want to get help to do something with it because I don't want to stay in the situation that I no longer want. And I would like to do something with it. And I get very honest with the person that I'm talking, whose support I'm seeking. I would like to talk about what I really mean and ask them for help as to how they can help me solve these. And the great thing about everything that we do, especially in the coaching world, is every objection is solvable. And I want to demonstrate this by talking more about these objections that people are having inherently inside themselves, and they're not even aware of why they just keep staying in that stage. And I would like to change that. And I will be doing even more written content to talk to you and to show you how you can solve your own objections inside, or you can get someone else to help you solve them so that you start seeing the clear road to the vision that you want to, rather than keep finding all the reasons and gathering all the evidence as to how, in your case, though, this won't work. Because as long as you keep gathering evidence for how this won't work, obviously you make sure that this won't work, right? So if you are able to make sure that this won't work, you are also able to make sure that this will. And I hope that you will give yourself a chance to do this. So if you'd like to work with me on this, you know how to join my individual group coaching combo.